Hey everyone, and welcome back to Insider Ecom Edge. We're always looking for ways to help you stay ahead of the curve, right? And today we're going to do a deep dive into a trend that's really shaking things up in the e-commerce world. Subscription boxes.
It really is amazing how quickly this business model has just exploded, going from kind of a niche idea to, well, a major force in retail.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you look at those numbers. I think the market is expected to reach something like $120 billion by 2024.
Yeah, that's up from a much smaller 13.2 billion in 2018. So, yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride.
Incredible growth, for sure. So what's driving this? Why are subscription boxes so appealing to people, both like customers and the businesses that create them?
I think for customers, there are a few things at play. Convenience is a big one. They're just really easy. Subscription boxes take care of things you'd normally have to, think about and buy over and over again. Saves time and mental energy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. It's like that thing where you're like, oh, I'm out of razors. I've got to go to the store and get them. Or
Yeah.
that specialty coffee you always buy. It's just one less thing to worry about, right?
Exactly. And for businesses, the big draw is that recurring revenue. It's so valuable to have a predictable income stream, coming in each month. It makes planning so much easier, like inventory and staffing. Even securing funding can be simpler when you have that stability.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be huge for a business owner. That predictable income, it's kind of like having a solid base for your business, right? But what about just the excitement factor? I feel like subscription boxes tap into that, human desire for novelty and discovery, that thrill of opening a package and being surprised by what's inside.
Oh, for sure. That element of surprise is a big part of it. It's like getting a present every month, and the contents are tailored to your taste, ideally. So that feeling keeps people engaged, keeps them subscribed, and waiting for the next box.
Yeah. And speaking of being tailored to your taste, that personalization aspect seems like a big driver of customer loyalty, right? It's not just any random assortment of products. It's about receiving items that are specifically chosen for you.
Yeah.
Makes you feel special.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's talking about personalization these days, but in this context, it really makes sense. It's about understanding an individual's preferences and then creating a unique experience just for them. And that's a win-win. Customers get the products they want, the businesses get insight into what people want, and they can, keep improving their offerings.
Makes perfect sense. So we've got convenience, personalization, and a bit of that fun surprise factor all in one package. But let's get practical for a second. Let's say someone is thinking about starting a subscription box business. Where do they even begin? There are so many moving parts.
Oh, yeah, it can feel pretty overwhelming. It's a lot to juggle. But the most important thing is to break it down into manageable steps. And the very first step is to really, truly understand your ideal customer. I mean, inside and out.
Okay, so we need to build that foundation first. So how do we go about, defining that ideal customer? How do we figure out exactly who we're trying to reach?
Detailed buyer personas. I know it sounds kind of technical, but it's essential. And it goes way beyond just basic info like, age, gender, income. You've got to get into their psychographics too. Like, what are their interests, values, lifestyles? What are their pain points? And what are they hoping to achieve? You really got to dig deep.
So you're talking about painting a picture in your mind, right? Like a very specific picture of this person so you can really get into their heads and understand their motivations, what they're all about.
Exactly. You need that clear understanding. Before you even start thinking about what's going in your box, you need to know who's going to open it. Once you have that, then you can think about choosing your niche.
Okay, yeah, niche.
Uh,
I mean, there are so many subscription boxes out there already. It seems like everything is covered. So how do you pick a niche that is, promising, but also not already completely full of competition?
Yeah, there are a ton out there, it's true. Finding that right niche is super important. Look for niches that are like kind of under the radar, passionate communities, but not a ton of big players already in there. So for example, clothing and fashion, everyone's doing that, but maybe there's something specific within that, like sustainable fashion for petite women or like ethically sourced athletic wear just for men.
So it's about finding that untapped potential, that group of people who are out there waiting for someone to create the perfect box just for them.
Exactly. Do your research, look at the competition, and think about what's missing. What can you offer that's unique or better, or maybe just more aligned with a specific group's values?
Okay, so we've got our ideal customer in mind,
Yeah.
and we've honed in on a promising niche. What comes next? How do we start making those subscription box dreams a reality?
Well, I'd say the next step is figuring out your value proposition. What makes your box special, and how are you going to price it to make sure you can actually, keep the lights on, make it a sustainable business?
Okay, let's talk about the money. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to make a profit, right? What kind of profit margin should someone be thinking about with a subscription box?
And at least 40%. That's what you need to be aiming for, to cover your costs, but also to have room to grow.
40%. Wow. Okay. So how do you make sure you're pricing things right to reach that goal and still, stay competitive in the market?
You've got to be very careful about calculating your costs. Think about everything. The products themselves, the packaging, shipping costs, marketing, any fees from platforms you're using. Don't forget to factor in your own time, too. That's a cost.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about all those little things when you're first starting out. So let's say our goal is to sell a box for like $35 a month. How would you break down those costs to make sure you're hitting that 40% profit margin?
Let's see, with a $35 box, you'd ideally want to keep your product cost under $12. Then packaging maybe around $5, and then shipping under $7. And that would leave you with, well, around $11 for your profit and things like, marketing and customer service.
Okay, I see. It really helps to see those numbers laid out like that. It shows you how important it is to, like, think about the numbers from the very beginning. But beyond the dollars and cents, what about that special something, that thing that makes your box stand out? What did you call it? The unique selling proposition.
That's it, the USP. That's where you really define what makes your box different. Is it super curated? Is it hyper personalized? Are the products ethically sourced or sustainable? Or maybe it's, a combination of all those things.
So basically, you're looking for that magic formula that makes your box the one that people absolutely have to have.
Exactly. Once you figure out that pricing and your USP, then don't be afraid to experiment a bit. Try different prices, offer early bird discounts, see what works best for your audience.
Testing and refining is key. Okay, so we've talked customer research, niche selection, pricing. We even talked about the USP. Now let's get to the fun part, the products. How do you go about sourcing those amazing items that are going to, make your subscribers happy?
Well, there are a few good options out there. Wholesale marketplaces like Alibaba and Faire are good places to start, especially if you're looking for good deals, buying in bulk. But you could also partner up with the smaller brands, maybe artisans who make really unique stuff. You could really build a relationship with them, and that would make your box even more special.
I love that idea. Supporting smaller businesses and also just creating a box that feels very curated.
Hmm.
But I guess it can be overwhelming. I mean, there are so many products out there. How do you go about putting together a box that feels cohesive, exciting, and I guess most importantly, valuable to your subscribers?
That's where you really get to exercise those creative muscles. The idea is to put together a balanced mix of, I'd say, 4 to 7 items, things that offer a good variety, but that all go together somehow. And it's good to have a mix of things people will use right away and things that will last a while.
So a little bit of instant gratification and then something they can enjoy for a bit longer. Good balance. But it's not just about what's in the box, right? It's also about the presentation.
Absolutely. Packaging matters. If you invest in packaging that looks good, it just elevates the whole experience. It makes the unboxing that much more exciting. And little details can go a long way. Maybe a handwritten thank you card, a discount code for the next box, even just a really nice product insert. It all makes a difference.
It's all about creating that, wow, I can't wait to open this
Yeah.
feeling, right? Like you're getting a gift. And you mentioned starting small before, and I think that's really good advice, right?
Yeah, you don't have to go all in right away. You can just start with a few prototype boxes, send them to people, get feedback on everything, the products, the packaging, the whole experience. And then, you go from there.
That's such a smart approach. Get that feedback early on. Okay, we've covered a lot. We've talked ideal customer, niche, pricing, how to source those amazing products. We've even gotten into the finer points of presentation and packaging. It feels like we've got all the bases covered.
Yeah, I think we've laid a pretty good foundation for building a subscription box business, but of course there's a lot more to cover.
Oh, there's always more. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive. So make sure you come back and join us when we dive into the world of operations and websites and all the, logistical stuff you need to know to really make this business hum. Welcome back, everybody. We covered a ton in that last part, didn't we? Really laid the groundwork for building a successful subscription box business. Like we talked all about figuring out your ideal customer, picking the right niche, making sure your pricing is on point, even getting into the whole world of products and packaging.
Yeah, that was a lot. But like we were saying, it's just the beginning. Launching your box is just step one, right?
Right, right. So now the question is, how do you take that box, that beautiful creation you've poured your heart and soul into, and actually turn it into a thriving, growing business?
That's the real challenge, I guess you can say. And the real fun part. It's about scaling, but it's also about doing it in a way that's smart and sustainable.
Yeah.
You don't want to sacrifice quality or, and this is super important, customer satisfaction.
Absolutely. So where do we even start with that? How do we take those first few subscribers and turn them into, well, a whole lot more without, losing sight of what made the box special in the first place?
I think it boils down to three things: keeping those customers happy, making sure your operations are running smoothly, and building a community around your brand.
Okay, I like it. Three pillars of subscription box success. So let's break them down one by one. Let's start with customer retention. I mean, everyone knows it's a lot easier to keep a customer than it is to find a new one, right? So how do you make sure those subscribers are coming back month after month? What's the secret sauce?
Well, I don't know if there's one magic formula, but it definitely starts with delivering on your promises. That value proposition we talked about. Every single box that goes out needs to feel exciting, like it's worth every penny. And even better if it, exceeds expectations, reminds people why they subscribed in the first place.
Makes sense. So don't get lazy just because you're starting to see some success, right? Keep those standards high.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget about personalization. The more you can tailor that box to each person's, unique preferences, the more likely they are to stick around. And these days, there are so many ways to do that, right? You can use their purchase history, you can send out surveys, you can even use like their social media activity to get clues about what they like.
It's like you're creating a personal shopper experience
Yeah.
almost, right? But without the, awkward interactions.
Huh, right. Exactly. And also, don't underestimate the power of communication. Keep people in the loop. Let them know what's coming up in the next box, what new products you're excited about, any special offers or things like that. There are so many ways to do it. Emails, social media, even a handwritten note in the box can go a long way.
Yeah, it shows that you're paying attention
Yeah.
and not just, churning out boxes on autopilot. And speaking of paying attention, what about feedback? I mean, getting feedback from those early subscribers has to be super valuable, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's gold, really. Ask people what they think, what they loved, what they didn't love, what they'd like to see more of. You can use surveys, polls, social media, even just a simple email saying, hey, what did you think?
It's all about making people feel heard, right?
Yeah.
And that you're actually listening to them.
Mm.
Okay, so we've covered customer retention. Let's move on to our next pillar, operational efficiency. As your business grows, I imagine things can get pretty hectic behind the scenes, right? So how do you keep everything running smoothly, even when you're dealing with a lot more orders?
The key is automation. And we talked about this a little bit before, but it's worth repeating. Investing in tools that can automate those repetitive tasks, like billing and shipping notifications, managing your inventory, even some parts of customer service, it can be a lifesaver. Literally saves you time and stress.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in automation. Anything that can free up my time and, brain space is a win in my book.
Exactly. And think about your fulfillment process too. If you're starting to get really busy, it might be time to think about outsourcing, like finding a third-party logistics provider, a 3PL. They can take care of all the, storage, packing, and shipping for you. It lets you focus on other things.
Smart. Knowing when to delegate can make a huge difference.
For sure. And don't be afraid to change things up as you go along. What works when you're shipping, like 100 boxes might not work when you're shipping 1,000.
Always be optimizing. Right?
Yeah, keep looking for ways to make things more efficient. Okay, so we've talked about keeping customers happy, making things run smoothly. Now let's talk about building a community, which to me is the most fun part.
I love this. It's so true. Subscription boxes are more than just, product in a box. It's about building a connection with people who share your passions, making them feel like they're part of something.
Right. And a strong community can really help your business grow. If people feel connected to your brand and to each other, they're more likely to stay subscribed, tell their friends, even give you great feedback and ideas.
It's like you're all in this together, right? Experiencing the box and sharing the excitement. So how do you actually go about building that community? Where do you start?
Well, social media is a great place. I mean, it's made for this, right?
Yeah.
Create a Facebook group or a dedicated page on Instagram where people can, share their unboxing photos, ask questions, just connect with each other.
Like building a little clubhouse online.
Yeah, exactly. You could even do contests, giveaways, keep people engaged. And don't forget to share photos and videos of people actually using their boxes. It makes them feel seen and appreciated.
And that's what it's all about, right? Building real connections with people.
Exactly. And it's not something that happens overnight. You've got to be authentic, be present, actually respond to people's comments and messages, show that you care.
It's a relationship. Okay, so community is key. And I know we've covered a lot, but are there any like bonus tips you can share? Any secrets for really taking your subscription box to the next level?
Well, one thing you can do is offer different tiers of boxes, like a basic box, a premium box with more stuff, or even a limited edition box, maybe with like a seasonal theme or a special collaboration.
Ooh, yeah, that's smart. Give people choices, and it also lets you appeal to a wider range of budgets.
Right. And
Yeah.
you can also think about, add-ons or one-time purchase options, things that go with the box. Like if you're doing a beauty box, maybe you offer some special, skincare tools
Mm,
or a gift wrapping option, just something extra.
love it. So many possibilities. Okay, what else?
Partnerships. Think about other businesses that you could team up with for like cross promotions.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, you look for businesses that, offer things that complement your box, but that aren't like direct competitors. So let's say you're doing a fitness box. Maybe you partner with a company that makes, workout clothes or protein bars.
Makes sense. You're basically sharing each other's audiences.
Exactly. You can promote each other on social media, in your emails, even include like samples or discount codes in your boxes.
Really smart. So many possibilities. Any last words of wisdom before we move on to the final part of our deep dive?
Yeah, this is important. Remember, building a business takes time. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Very true. You got to be in it for the long haul.
Exactly. It's going to be challenging, but if you focus on keeping those customers happy, making things run efficiently, and, really cultivating that sense of community, you'll be on the right track.
Great advice. And it's not just about, the products or even making money. It's about creating something that people really love.
Yeah.
Something that makes a difference in their lives.
That's it. That's the heart of it. All right. Ready to dive into the last part?
Bring it on. I'm ready to explore the future of subscription boxes.
Welcome back to Insider Ecom Edge. We've talked about, building a successful subscription box business, but now I want to talk about what's coming next. What's on the horizon for the industry?
Yeah, things are always changing, especially in the world of e-commerce, right? It's important to keep up with the trends, see what's coming down the pipeline.
Right. So let's try to predict the future a bit. What are some of the emerging trends that you think are going to shape the next chapter of the subscription box story?
Well, one thing I'm seeing is this rise of hyper niche boxes. We talked about niches before, but this is even more specific.
Hyper niche. Okay. Give me an example. Like how specific are we talking?
Imagine a subscription box that's not just for like beauty products or fitness stuff, but for people who, I don't know, collect vintage stamps of extinct birds.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty specific, but I kind of love it. Right. The more people want personalized experiences, the more specific these boxes are going to get. And there are so many passionate communities out there just waiting for someone to create the perfect box for them.
So it's about like really tapping into those smaller communities, those people who are really passionate about a very particular thing.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. We're also starting to see augmented reality and virtual reality being used in the unboxing experience.
Whoa, hold on. That's next level. Like, how does that even work?
Well, imagine you get a beauty box, right? And you can use your phone or even a VR headset to get like interactive tutorials, try on makeup virtually, maybe even get a personalized skincare consultation.
So you're taking the whole unboxing experience and making it like interactive and super engaging.
Exactly. It's about creating an experience, not just delivering a product. But, it's not all about fancy technology. Sustainability is becoming more and more important for everyone, and subscription boxes are no exception.
Yeah, for sure. People are thinking a lot more about their impact on the environment. So how is the subscription box world responding to that?
In a lot of good ways, actually. We're seeing a lot more eco-friendly packaging. Companies are sourcing their products from sustainable suppliers. And some are even incorporating like carbon offsetting or donations to environmental causes into their business model.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, and we're even seeing some companies experimenting with reusable packaging or offering recycling programs. It's really becoming a priority.
It's good to see businesses taking that seriously. So we've got hyper niche boxes, AR and VR experiences, and a focus on sustainability. What else is coming down the pike?
Data, data, data. I know it sounds kind of boring, but businesses are getting really good at using data to personalize the subscription box experience.
Okay, tell me more about that. Like, what kind of data?
Think about all the information that's out there. Your past purchases, your social media activity, even things like what articles you read online. Companies can use all that data to create a box that's truly personalized, like it was made just for you.
Wow, that's kind of scary, but also kind of cool.
Right. And the technology is only going to get better. But it's not just about knowing what people want, it's also about surprising them.
Oh yeah, surprise. It's the best part.
Right. We all love that feeling of getting something unexpected, and subscription boxes are a perfect way to deliver that. Think about little bonus gifts, personalized notes, maybe early access to a new product, even invitations to exclusive events or online communities.
I love it. It's like taking the whole experience to another level.
Exactly. The unboxing should be memorable, it should be fun. It's not just about what's inside the box, it's about the whole experience.
I'm really excited to see where this industry goes. It's such a creative space.
Me too. And if anyone out there is listening and thinking, hey, I want to start a subscription box business, this is the time to do it. There's so much potential. And there are so many underserved niches out there just waiting for someone with a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on this journey?
First of all, be passionate. Find something you really love because it's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication to make it successful. And do your research, get to know your target market inside and out.
It's not just about having a great idea, it's about executing it well.
Exactly. But most importantly, make sure you're creating something that's truly valuable, something that brings people joy.
Such a good point. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot.
We have. A huge thank you to you for sharing all your insights and expertise with us. I know our listeners have learned a ton.
It's been my pleasure. And to everyone listening, keep those entrepreneurial dreams alive.
Yes. And if you want to learn more about subscription boxes, make sure to check out the show notes. We'll have links to all the resources we talked about. And as always, thank you for joining us on Insider Ecom Edge.